Invasion. Watch for democracies, hypocrisy, philosophies, fear and shock factories, pseudo-pop mockeries and poppy fields, blocking swinging shots without Moroccan shields. Industry, the mind full of verses, folks and stocking wheels, coffin fields empty, buried in the battlefield. Working on the streets is walking in some cattle fields. King Alfred Bluesum, love a mental snoozing, sleepwalking and talking, cell phones are soothing. Minds disappearing, genetic memory erasing. Don't even have a job, but they get you for tax evasion. Hot like a frying pan, crying fam, lion men. Use gadgets, firemen, no loyalty, just buying friends. No credit, debt slaves, walking over paved graves. Enslaved, enraged, marriage to death, prearranged. Mike Sufi Genie, bomb tracks bikini. Stupid niggas call my fest bucket high when they see me, but won't ask a thing or drink the water that I bring. But when the Pope comes, they're kissing on his ring. They rather drink a rapper's flow from the black fountain. Pipe Piper got the dead, lined up in the thousands. Confusion with illusions, infusion with sorcery. Won't give up my birthright no matter what they offer me. No deal. Push the red button, I'm going home. Close my eyes, with Yasanel and Vendome. The fires that we throw on roll, make them all shake. Islamism grand chic, not spelled like shake. Open minds, not scarred on when you enter my zone. I wouldn't call it murder when I snap the neck of my clone, trying to escape with the Moorish temple charter. See the space the harder, no making me a martyr. Sir, I am larger. Aura is my armor. When I plant a seed in man's soil, round farmer. Use the alma rap, sorta like an almanac. Keep listening, sleepless, hip-hop, insomniac. Moorish MC, call me that acquiesce, don't call back, just fall back. Any rapper after 95, all whack. Their flow just trickles like drops on icicles. Rappers need training wheels on their rhymesicles. Keep people's mind pickled in a lost realm. When it comes to Moorish MCs, I'm at the helm. Invasion. Trying to escape with the Moorish temple charter. He the space the slaughter. No making me a martyr. You learn I am larger. Aura is my armor. Aura is my armor. Invasion. Trying to escape with the Moorish temple charter. He the space the slaughter. No making me a martyr. You learn I am larger. Aura is my armor. Aura is my armor. Aura is my armor. Invasion. My MC sarcophagus open, red hooded cloak, soaking of oils essential, glowing from my mental. Some slide with a coward glide out the temple. Arrogant, egotistical, pseudo-mysticals. Silence from lips telepathic and graphic. I'm communicating with identified ships, objects flying in zigzag and symmetric patterns. My pyramid core looks like a cavern, spiritual war, reflecting off the raging cauldron water bubbles. No burning wood smell, no heat but cough doubles. No smoke, watching broken puddles, glass flowing, grass growing, foaming, smoking nozzles to minds. My words are fossils, colossal. Dirty Moors appearing as golden apostles, glowing lower chakras, fireflies and bottles. Won't give enough light and minds to get me out the darkness. Spirits around me, soul and heartless. All five senses, shock watching, a walking carcass. Wires poking out from foreheads, blink to answer iPhones. Mouth tubes going through nose to lungs to smoke high time. I travel so far, chasing a star. Dark comets, zooming past quasars. One time I traveled so far, chasing a star, dodging comets, zooming past quasars. One time I traveled so far, chasing a star, zooming past comets, dodging quasars. One time I traveled so far, chasing a star, zooming past comets, dodging quasars. MC sarcophagus open, from slaves to cyborg psychos, hatching through the door as rage leaks from pores. Black hole, not vinyl, watching it spiral, disciple of the archetypal, hip-hop revival. I'm pulses versus suicidal impulses. Bonafide genocide, I'm crucifying vultures, not absorbing into cultures. Burst out like Gamma Bay, I'm like Alhambra days. My veiled sunglasses are not rapper shades. I'm seeing aliens with locks and turbans, not grays. Floating off the platform, greeting me with Islam gestures. Blue flame quartz grew around scepters, using a portal as an entrance. Galactic world pendants with some solar flare, double helix necklace. Couldn't believe what I'm seeing, I gotta get this. One time I traveled so far, chasing a star, dodging comets, zooming past quasars. One time I traveled so far, chasing a star, dodging comets, zooming past quasars. One time I traveled so far, chasing a star, zooming past comets, dodging quasars. One time I traveled so far, chasing a star, zooming past comets, dodging quasars. My MC sarcophagus open, sitting at the table of ascendant masters, not descendant pastors, telling me about silent brotherhood mysteries and duality, conquering the 6 degrees, becoming the logos to reteach his stories to get us off the mental slave trees. Telling me to study the works, not slander from jerks, conspiring with de facto jurisdictions for perks, taking de jure paperwork to corporate clerks. Be mindful of dirty morals, throwing dirt on your worth. At that time, upstood one of the Durban sages, created a timeline in space to show the ages of all the galaxies, universal places of existence, explained from a distance, inner, under, and overwhelmed realms of persistence, indoor bright with the sun's light, moon, wax and wane in my brain, energy, gunfights, indoor bright with sun's light, moon, wax and waves in my brain, energy, gunfights. One time I traveled so far, chasing a star, dodging comets, zooming past quasars. One time I traveled so far, chasing a star, dodging comets, zooming past quasars. One time I traveled so far, chasing a star, zooming past comets, dodging quasars. One time I traveled so far, chasing a star, zooming past comets, dodging quasars. Islam Moors. Islam Moors. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. You already know we're on a little shutdown for a little bit. So, you know, just keeping you updated. We're still out here. It's not serious, not that serious. We're still out here. The people, you know, using the time wisely, studying. But we're on the hiatus because lost one of my brethrens. And knowledge of self is a powerful thing. And it doesn't take, well, for me at least, it doesn't take until somebody who's like, you know, like real close transitions. And you see all the other people around you and how they're reacting to it opposed to how they should be looking at it. Because as Moors, we know we got certain lessons, and because we got these lessons, we're prepared for the cares of the world and the uncares of the world. Because it'll bloom you into a beautiful being. It'll also turn you into the slime of earth. So I was sitting back watching how people are dealing with this thing, you know, just building with people. And it's really real what Noble Drew Ali brought for the Moors. So because he gave us the divine lesson by presenting this information to us about the ministry of death, if Moors read their Qurans and all that stuff, you already know about the ministry of death. With this chapter comes the complete understanding of how to deal with death. And because of who the presenters of it is these lessons, which would straighten man up quick fast, because you realize you have no time to waste. It's now or never, because not just where we're at, because in the past 6 months, we ask around people, hey, how much people you know transition or whatever. Somebody's going to know somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody. But it's how you deal with it. And the best way to deal with it is to follow the pattern that has been laid down by the ancient foremothers and forefathers, so that when it approaches, you know how to deal with it. And then make sure you pass it on so others could realize that, just like we said, there's no mourning. It's supposed to be celebration when somebody transitions. They're not here no more doing this BS. Can't even exercise your rights and stuff like that. You gotta worry about some highwayman try to take your head just because you don't want to pay tax. Or just because you don't want to whatever. So we're going to put some reference points out there with regard to this this existence that everybody has to face. You have no choice in the matter. So the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, gave the Moors their Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science and Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And the dialogue is very interesting. When John was 12 years old, his mother died, and neighbors laid her body in a tomb among her kindred in the Hebron burying ground and near Zachariah's tomb. And John was deeply grieved. He wept. Matheno said, "It is not well to weep because of death. It is not well to weep. It's not well." Right? So, as the earth sign, you pick up energies. So I remember being at these things, these quote unquote burial grounds and whatever. And not understanding what was going on at the time, but knowing that I don't want to cry, but I'm crying because she's crying and he's crying and she's crying and they're crying and she's on the ground and stuff like that or whatever. I never understood. Why is it that I don't want to cry, but I'm crying? What's going on right now? Why am I stuck in limbo? That I don't want to show their emotion, not because I don't care about the individual or whatever, but like it's just not something to cry about. But as soon as you make eye contact with that person bawling, trust me, you're going to bawl your eyes out. And then that's when the emotion takes over, and then now you're caught in the realm of quote unquote mourning. That's why I say it's not mourning, it's celebration. Are you crying when people transition? You should be rejoicing to the high heavens.
Because life is what you're supposed to be looking at as somebody dies. Not looking at their death. Like, oh yeah, oh, you're looking at their death for the rest of their death. Why don't you look at their life? It goes on. Death is no enemy of man. It is a friend who, when the work of life is done, just cuts the cord that binds the human boat to earth, that it may sail on smoother seas. So we're not even looking at how the individual died. It doesn't matter. The point is that when there is death, know that he's a friend of whoever he came to cut their cord and then make them go sail on smoother seas. After death is smoother seas. So what are you crying about? Must be something else going on. No mourning. And then Dr. York would teach that, well, there can't be mourning because sun doesn't rise or set. It's there. So if mourning is because of a sun rising over something, you're tripping. There's a lot more. Hold on, let me turn you up a little bit because it's sounding low. There's a lot more.
Islam. Now, I remember, I just want to add on real quick. I remember when my grandmother had transformed into energy. I was, you already know, straight to death and burial of Elizabeth. I'm going straight to it. So I'm reading it, and I have to get in it very deeply. So that part when it says death is no enemy of man, it is a friend. Now that right there really stuck with me. So I had to go look up friend, and I got the etymology of friend, and friend is kin. So death is part of us. It's blood. It's blood. That's what I was like amazed by that, like, because it's always gonna be around.
Mm-hmm.
Death is kin, because that's the etymology of friend. And another thing, real quick, and I'm gonna yield the floor. In this book I got, the Dictionary of Symbols, and we're taught in chapter 14 that John is the harbinger, right? In this right here, the lessons, the ministry of death, it says when John was 12 years old, his mother died. Now it was talking about John again. And remember John being the harbinger. Now back to the book of Dictionary of Symbols, it talks about death. And it says death is the harbinger of revelation. So that's all that right there is bugging me out. How John the harbinger, and then the prophet speaks of John in the ministry of death, and then the Dictionary of Symbolism speaks of death being the harbinger to revelation. And I yield the floor.
Islam. No language can describe a mother's worth. And yours was tried and true. But she was not called hence until her tasks were done. The cause of death are always for the best. The cause of death are always for the best? You know how aligned you have to be to even accept that concept? That no matter what, if death comes, he's your friend, and it's always for the best when he shows up. Always for the best. Because after this, you're going to smoother seas, period. Because it's inevitable. And you don't know what your tasks are. You're just here to experience. And you're supposed to learn from those experiences. You know? Like, the more transition, because he liked to ride bikes. He was a bike more. And he wasn't no rookie on no bike. So how is it that he's taken out on a bike? Just like that. Going to work one morning, just like that. Never bothered nobody. Never did anything wrong to anybody. Anytime, extend your hand. He'll help some way, shape, or form. Just like that. People who were with him the night before, hours ago, they just saw him. Those people are getting it right now. When we say the grieving, the mourning, the things because of the emotions, not about the fact that death is not an enemy. When death comes, if it's for the best always, then there should be rejoicing going on. There should be celebration going on. There shouldn't be the mundane. And then, we're just coming from a perspective that as Moors, we know that we're higher beings. You know what I mean? Like I was telling one of the brothers, yo, there's people who transition who I check them in the dream realm. They're straight. They ain't got no worries about nothing over there. They're on smoother seas right now. You know? And it's insane. Like, for example, right? Noble Drew Ali talked about doing whatever from the soul plane. Right? Now, before this more, the other more of that transition with sickle cell that we made the Memory Lane album for and all of that. That brother's stuff's coming up. He's August 1st. And again, it's the concept, because they're together now with the realm. So it's really on. If both of them are over on that side doing whatever on the smoother seas. When Naj dropped that, he's a Moor. Ghetto Othello the Moor. Him. I'm that. when Naj dropped that, I knew that was a message from the more that transitioned with the sickle cell. Because Nas was his favorite rapper. That's how I'm looking at it. Like if he's verifying that, yo, what you're on right now is where it's supposed to be at, then that's when you get into accepting the death side, and now you could start interacting with them over on that side. You ain't worry about anybody, somebody left somewhere. But it's not fake when people do put on the board and then the glass moves and the spirit came and made the glass move and stuff like that. That's, trust me. I was the black guy that used to be with the heavy metal guys. Right? And want to go to haunted houses and stuff like that and want to do stuff that, you wouldn't really think that it's real. That on the other side of this that we're experiencing, there's something going on. And then they can interact with here. Like, for example, working at this school. This teacher comes to me one day and says, do you believe in ghosts and stuff like that? So I already know it's about the school because forever there have been rumors in the school that there's a ghost in the school, people seen it and all that, right? So in this wing of the school, I would have to go there to get water. And this is 7:30 in the morning for ball or whatever going on in the morning for the school. And you'll be hearing stuff in classrooms, chair moving, stuff like that. Nobody's in there. Don't forget I work there. We got keys. You can check every door. Empty. Stuff moving. So teacher comes up to me talking about, yeah, she was talking with this teacher. And in her room, a student came to see her. Sat down and all that. She goes and starts asking about this student. Everybody who she asked about this student said that that's the student that died, that your room was dedicated to him. And then and above the door, there was a picture of the student. And the lady who had to sit down with the student said the guy in the picture was who was sitting in the chair.
I got the rising goosebumps.
Yo, the rising goosebumps right now. Crazy. And then keep in mind that the children always see the other side of the veil. They'll be telling you, and them talking to the washing machine and stuff like that. They're seeing the other side of the veil. You have anything to add, Mark?
I'm still sucking in the story, Gracie. I'm still sucking in the story right now.
Crazy. You know? And that's just what It is. There's a connection. More said looking like the looking like the de-feathered chicken with the goosebumps. It is selfishness that makes one wish to call again to earth departed souls. It is selfishness. Because you should be rejoicing that they transition. You know the BS that we got to deal with here? How's leaving here bad? Somebody got the opportunity to go into the Bill and Ted's phone booth. And go on excellent adventure. And you're mad? Why they leave? Please come back and all that type of stuff. Face the reality. And like we're saying, you know, it's not even about how you leave here. Because that's messed up to leave from a tire that bounced way down there. Now, you know how messed up it is when if a tire is what has your name on it? A tire bouncing down the street that fell off a tractor. Now, here's mind your own business. Tire. Or a chimney fall off a building on you. There's worse stuff than they're putting on the news and saying, oh yeah, look, people are getting killed by whatever. But every time death comes, remember that he's a friend. That he's taking him to the smoother seas. Yeah, but that was I'm not talking about the life stuff. I'm not talking about the why that happened and he should have not did this and that and all that stuff. Well, what does that matter? Don't worry about that. Worry about being able to catch the signals that they'll be sending from that side because they don't know how to communicate with you now. And you don't know how to communicate with them. Imagine life bid, but on the other side of the veil. That for a lifetime, just wander. Because people are so dumbass, like the one. Brother, we know, I might have told this story before. This brother we know knew somebody that died in his arms. Right? He was holding him in his arms. And then he died. Right? And the brother was a highly spiritual brother, and he, you know, called the ritual and brought the brother back. Those guys didn't talk for 10 years. The guys didn't talk for 10 years because The one that came back was pissed that he brought him back from there instead of letting him die. And when he came back here, he and that individual had no conversations for 10 years because that man pulled him back in to this realm. Whatever he saw over there, that nothing here mattered. Nothing here could equate to what he saw over there on that side of the wall. And then got brought back on this side. And then couldn't go back. "10 years took him to get over that." Islam, Mark.
Another thing, real quick, with astrology too. Right now, Mars is in retrograde, and it'll be in retrograde to the end of August. And we're about to, I think we might have already had our first eclipse, or we're about to have 2 eclipses back to back. The second eclipse is going to be the biggest eclipse we've had in the last, I think it's over 50 years, 100 years or something like that. It's going to be the biggest eclipse, supposed to be quote unquote blood moon. But according to astrology, there would be a lot of deaths going on around right now during the summertime. And it was saying people should just be careful. And I read that last month. And in the last month, you know, with the grand sheet you telling me and the people I've known personally around me, it's been about 6 or 7 transitions in the last month. So I know the stars don't lie because I'm sitting here and I'm watching it. So, you know, with the retrograde, with Mars and the 2 eclipses, people need to be very careful right now. It's not my yield before.
Islam. "Then let your mother rest in peace. Just let her noble life be strengthened and inspiration unto you." So whoever it is that transitioned, they're supposed to be strengthening and inspiration to you because they transition. You must be renewed, because if they go back to the source, then that means now they are you. Which again is going back to being able to be in contact with the other side to get your assistance here. They don't need to come tell you we're going to assist. You're going to just see stuff manifesting that really shouldn't have manifested, but this is manifesting. This really shouldn't be manifesting, but it's manifesting. The realms that exist other than our own that we exist in right now in physical form all have some type of way to interact with this physical. And the more we get caught up in not realizing that the noble prophet Drew Ali told the Moors that divine is before national. The spiritual side of things the astrological, cosmological side of things, holds more weight than the card and the papers and the writs side of things. And the whole idea, again, with the ministry of death, if we go to the Metaphysics Bible Dictionary, dying, death, second death. Dying is the name that we give to that state of negation in man's consciousness, wherein he no longer can retain possession of his body. Death is always the result of a failure to recognize God as the source of wisdom and life. When the soul falls short in this respect, it sins, and there is a physical dissolution that is but the outer symbol of mental negation or spiritual inertia. This death or dissolution of the body is the second death, over the meaning of which church people have so long contended. The first death is where the consciousness has lost sight of spiritual wisdom and sunk into belief that God is absent from man and the universe. That's dying. You got to go through all that to die. Yeah, more.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Gotta go through all of that. Then you're dying.
Right. The idea of death is them making the transition to the next part of their journey. Right? The first death, losing knowledge of self. Because once you don't have knowledge of self, now you're at a disadvantage in every way, shape, or form that you could consider or not consider. The first death is where the wisdom, is where the consciousness has lost sight of spiritual wisdom and sunk into belief that God is absent from man and the universe. God's some being over here and has nothing to do with anything. But if you're not recognizing that you're that, if you're not recognizing that you're God, that's the first death. Then the second death is when the body, and then wherever you go, smoother seas. But don't think you're not going to learn something on those other realms. This belief is the being dead through your trespasses and sins. There can be no other explanation of the first and second death. Metaphysically, we know that the body is the outer form of the thoughts, and it therefore could not die or disintegrate unless a similar process had first taken place on the mental plane. If you allow yourself to go to sleep spiritually, that is, if you live in the senses and fail to recognize your spiritual selfhood and your relation to being, you are already virtually dying or dead. The fact that you seem to live and to exercise a limited consciousness on the animal plane is no is no evidence that you are alive, because the senses fail. You were long. You will dissolve, and you will then experience the second death. And then under dead, the dead in scripture signifies those who are unconscious of truth. See dying. Those who are unconscious of truth. And as more as we already know, we have that. That's one of our principles. That's one of our principles. So we know we have truth. We don't have to guess, do we have that or not? There's a lot more. You had anything?
In the book, I'm about to read something real quick. They got a definition of death in Dictionary of Symbols. It says, insofar as it is a symbol, death is the impairment and perishable aspect of living. It points to what must vanish in the inevitable evolution of material things and is akin to the symbolism of earth. However, it also ushers in the unknown worlds of heaven and hell, thus demonstrating its ambivalence like earth and setting it, in some respects, upon the same plane as rites of passage. Death is, okay. All rites of initiation include a death phase preceding a new life. In this sense, death has psychological properties in that it liberates from negative and regressive forces, dematerializes and sets free the essential powers of the spirit. Although death may be the daughter of night and the sister of sleep, like her mother and brother, she is endowed with powers of regeneration. If the person is struck down by death, lives only on the material and animal plane, he or she sinks into hell. On the other hand, if the person lives at a spiritual level, death unlocks the gates of the realm of light. Mystics are in agreement with doctors and psychologists in observing that within every being, at all levels of existence, life and death coexist. In other words, that there is a tension between countervailing forces. Perhaps death at one level may be the condition for life at another, higher level. Islam.
Islam. And then I'll just follow that up with Hilton Otima, Cosmic Science of the Ancient Masters. Hilton Otima, Cosmic Science of the Ancient Masters. If a man die, shall he live again? Job 14:14. That burning question rises when the dawn of the race, with the dawn of the race, and was answered by the ancient masters. By death in this case is meant the total extinction of man when his physical body ceases its function. The spiritual intuition of man declares there is no death, The soul of man rejects the theory of annihilation advanced by modern science. Man universally harbors the hope of a future life, the expectancy of immortality characterized by the savage and the savant. As those intuitions of man are universal, they are natural. Natural impulses imply a natural law of fulfillment. The natural desire that is universal portends a natural means of its accomplishment. Universal tendencies are obviously based upon universal principles. Man is not an object foreign to the universe. He is an integral part of it and is ruled and affected by universal laws exactly the same as are all other parts of the universe. He is the product of the cosmic elements and cosmic forces, exactly the same as are all other existing things. There is no death. We shall not sleep in death, but we shall be changed, said the masters. 1 Corinthians 15. And so, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? Then the scheming priests who helped to compile the New Testament added this illogical passage. The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. Those empty words mean nothing. The masters explain that when the celestial body enters the terrestrial body called man, he is born into the visible realm of the kingdom of heaven. Of that event we think nothing unusual because it is so common and so well understood. But the deceived and misled multitude little knows that when man's terrestrial body dissolves and the spirit leaves the physical envelope, man is in truth born again to begin a new existence, and he enters into that vast invisible realm termed the kingdom of heaven, a mere figure of speech invented for the purpose of deception. For as the whole universe, both the visible and invisible realms, are in fact the kingdom of heaven, man is never out of it, even though he may so think in his ignorance. That mysterious change from the visible to the invisible state in the twinkling of an eye was well explained by the great hierophant Apollonius, called Paul in the Bible. Yet the simplicity of the truth of his teachings has been destroyed by the distorted manner in which the blind leaders of the blind have handled it. The eternal truth of the immortality of man remains changeless throughout the centuries. It was a matter of common knowledge with the ancient masters, who are now termed pagans and heathens by the modern world. The best way to discredit ancient wisdom is to degrade its developers. Is you why they hating on the Moors so hard? Once they degrade the developers or the custodians of the ancient Kemetic knowledge, that all these people say that they could read hieroglyphs and they could decipher whatever, how come they're not saying that they're Moors then? Remember always that this death concept applies all across the board. Not just physical body, change, transition. It's a law of the universe, cause and effect. Has to be this way. We sow not the body that shall be, said Apollonius. We sow bare grain. 1 Corinthians 15. The creative process gives it a body, and to each kind of seed a body of its own. While the life of the seed born again in the new plant may be fabled to die, that is only symbolic, as none could be more logical, so none could be more superficial. The seed dies not in terms of extinction, it simply changes. The master then elucidates the ancient allegory by differentiating the bodies as celestial and terrestrial. The latter grain is sown into corruption, out of which the celestial spirit, new life, is raised in incorruption. It is sown in dishonor and raised in glory. It is sown in weakness and raised in power. It is sown a natural physical body. It is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body and a spiritual body. How could the subject be more clearly explained? The living beetle, as the father with the son in his bosom, goes underground, buries himself to be born again. The Egyptian masters employed this phenomenon of nature to teach the neophyte more effectively the mystery of the Father or Spirit incarnating in matter and being born again on the opposite horizon as his transformed son. As this natural phenomenon occurs, it is the cause of insignificant insects. It could not be less in the case of man, for it is not logical nor reasonable to believe that God would grant eternal life to bugs and not confer this blessing upon man, the Lord of the visible world. To the ancient masters, the deepest mystery was the grand cycle of phenomena, birth, life, death, or decomposition, and new life out of death or decay. They discovered the secret of immortality by studying the creatures that God hath made. And to them, the transformation of the worm was a greater wonder than the stars, for it revealed the mystery of immortality. Hence, the lowly scarabus or beetle was sacred to them as a creature whose conduct revealed and proved the born-again doctrine of their science and religion. Thus, their remarkable discoveries and faiths are condensed into allegories, which they understood, but were not always able to explain in language, for there are thoughts and ideas which no language ever spoken by man has words to express. And again, that was the cosmic science of the ancient masters. Hilton Hotima. Peace, more.
Quick question, Gracie.
Yeah, more.
Can death also be looked at as going into the astral plane?
Going into something. Who knows? All I know, the only person I know came back was pissed.
Right.
So I don't know what's over there, but I know people. I know at least one individual that went was like, "Hey, the hell am I doing back here? I want to be there. Like I want to be there. I want to go back there." You know.
It's just the whole. Because I keep thinking about how you said that, being at the funeral and people saying, you don't want to cry, but people around you, she's crying, he's crying, and you end up crying. You know what I mean? But is that coming from a modern way of what we're going through now? Because in our ancient time, when they speak of us, it doesn't seem like we look at death as like we look at it now. Is that a modern concept? Mourning, like mourning at quote unquote funerals or passings.
Yeah, I mean, modern, like from a societal perspective, not necessarily, a people. You know what I mean? Like,
because they look like they dogmatize death.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
So if we look at it like from the perspective of pushing some religion, whatever, then yeah, because death was basically made to be, the evil one, and then God is the good one, and you know what I mean? And somebody's gonna play for a championship belt. Most times God's gonna win, but really that's the devil. And then the devil's really God. Like they're saying, people are going to look at death and automatically it's the black cloak with the sickle and whatever.
Right.
You wouldn't look at somebody who's dressed like that as your friend.
Right.
Even though Peter Griffin did,
Right.
Like him and death were chill. Him and death were cool.
Right. With the Mayans or the Olmecs were playing death games when the winner gets to be beheaded. They cut the winner's head off.
Right. The winner gets the head cut off. Yeah.
Yeah. Like how?
Like that's the.
You know what I mean? Like how do you look at that? Like how do you're raised like that? Out the womb, you're raised to think. At a higher, there's going to be an opportunity in my life when I'm going to be able to, honor that. I'm going to be able to die. Like that was a big thing. That was big time. Now we mourn and take me and all of that. Like that has to be just the whole, like the dogma, how they dogmatize death. It's a whole thing, to the death certificates, to everything, to paying for the funeral. The whole thing is not for the Christian black codes and burying you in concentrated ground 6 feet deep and all of that. And I'm like, all of that has nothing to do with what we did as an ancient people.
Right. It's just like everything in, just like the names that we got. We know we're warped.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like the cold turkey. So even if you gotta go to the thing, right? Even though we gotta go to the whatever, the concept of what's going on there, shouldn't be like the body is the whatever.
Right.
Most of those should be cremations or whatever like that, and let's be done with this. Because this is a shell right here. The essence of that individual is really what everybody saw in their eyes or their smile or how good of an individual they were. It wasn't their body that people were interacting with. You know what I mean? So like, it's really getting them to realize what it is, not what it's been trumped up to be. You know?
And to add on with the cremation, because as soon as you said that, I said, well, let me look up the symbolism of cremation. Cremation is the symbol of total sublimation, destroying what is inferior to cut a path toward what is superior. In mythology, tradition, and even in alchemy, passing through the furnace determines the rise to a higher plane of existence. And it says, like example, phoenix rising through the ashes.
Wow. Yep.
So that was big time. You just threw that out there, and you just phoenix rising through the ashes, cremation. Yep. Okay.
Yep. Cremation. What did it say in the beginning about the path?
Cremation of destroying what is inferior to cut a path towards what is superior.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's tight. That's tight. That is tight.
You know, they never even speak about cremation. Nobody never talks about getting cremated.
Yeah.
Or the symbolism behind it.
But they know
You know, and even behind that, with cremation and funerals, I've seen that cause problems with kin, with quote unquote families,
right,
where it becomes an argument. Like, oh, we're gonna get them cremated, or we should have an open casket and all of that, when nobody did no studying, no nothing.
Yeah.
And even with I'm reading before about this in another class, with like the symbolism of wearing black to funerals. You're not supposed to wear black. Our ancestors, we didn't wear black to the funerals. We would wear white. White is for gods, for them to be able to go on to the next realm.
Yeah.
When you wear black to funerals, it was symbolism of you weren't going anywhere. That was just it. There's death here.
That was the hell. That was the hell.
Yep,
You're not going nowhere.
That's the hell. So that's the symbolism of wearing black and white to funerals. And, to this day, this modern day now, we wear black. The whole thing is dogmatized. This causes, it makes me ponder, while I'm watching from the side.
Yeah. Crazy.
Because we wear, right to this second, we wear black to funerals.
Yeah.
They've taken our ancient way of letting our ancestors pass on even away.
Imagine that.
Like we're not even giving our proper burials that we were doing for hundreds and thousands of years. That whole thing has been taken away. I know nationality is the order of the day, but once you get nationality, you notice that has even been stripped away from you. You haven't even been given proper burials for your family because your nationality was stripped from you.
Yep. It's that real. There's a lot more. That is a quickie for today. Just because it's been a while. So I owe y'all some. I owe y'all a few. But put this one out there. Riverside Branch Library, 475 Bullocks Point Avenue, Riverside, Rhode Island Territory. Rise of the Moors. Good brother Jamal's and the family out there did their whatever they had to do. So we're going to be out there Saturday, August 11th. Saturday, August 11th, 2018, 10:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Info. Oh yeah, just so you hear the phone. You hear the phone beeping?
Yes.
You know what that is? Casper. The ghost. The ghost. Saturday, August 11th, 2018. 10:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. The sellout of our birthright and conscious community connections and message to the new Moors with eyes wide open. Saturday, August 11th, 2018. Info riseofthemoors@gmail.com. Send them an email, if you want to get your little hotel room or whatever, find out. You want to do your little Google search so you can see where it's at, so you can, get yourself to the territory. Saturday, August 11th. We'll see you there. 10:30 a.m. Riverside Branch Library, 475 Bullocks Point Avenue, Bullocks Point Avenue, Riverside, Rhode Island. riseofthemoors@gmail.com. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. No, he's trying again, yo.
I need to know what Casper means now. Now I want to do some research and all of that.
Casper's funny. He should have called when he was the subject of class. But, people waste time. And then they wonder why they just get ghost emojis.
Right. Oh, that's the Casper.
Yeah, that Casper.
That's the Casper.
That was the Casper calling. Calling for what? Calling for what? You forgot Casper? You forgot you did the phone interview with the Dirty Moors that sell packages out here for $5,000? Camry, El Bay, and his whole crew of Dirty Moors? You forgot, huh? I know you forgot. You don't forget stuff, Casper. Why you call Amir Casper? Go call Amir Sharif L. Because he talked to you too.
Right.
He talked to you too. Since you want to get some shine right now, I'll give you some shine. He talked to you too. How come, Casper? How come the friendly ghost is not being friendly? The friendly ghost.
You gotta send the email.
You gotta send the email, yo. You gotta send the email. Like, yeah. You gotta do the email thing, bro. You gotta do the email thing. Oh yeah, and it's on to all the Moors who showed up at the barbecue Saturday. We had the Canaanland, the fourth annual Canaanland barbecue. Make sure you go check 5 Principles Cuisines. Go get your chef game up, because those Moors went in on some vegan catering. Those Moors went in on some vegan catering. So Islam to 5 Principles Cuisines for keeping us fat, just like how we love it. Just how we love it. And Islam to the Moors near Rhode Island again. We're gonna be building soon. And you know, of course we gotta get some stuff from the garden. Taste the garden. Taste the fruit that was brought forth. So Islam Moors, Islam to you, brother Yusuf. You got some shout outs here?
Islam? What was that, Grand Sheik?
Now you got some shout outs before we close out?
Yep. Give thanks to you, Grand Sheik, for opening up your platform, and give thanks to the Moors in the chat. And if you're looking for some seasonings, come look me up at Instagram at Yusuf L720 at Instagram. Yusuf L720 at Instagram. If you're looking for some spices, some herbs and some spices, I make all types of seasonings, and I grow my own fruits and vegetables too. But I do dehydrate all types of fruits too. So if you want some fruit, like I grow strawberries, dehydrate strawberries, and my father sends me mangoes, so I make mango chips, dehydrated mangoes, and all types of spices. Onion powder, garlic powder, jalapeno powder, anything, celery salt, everything. So if you needed it, once again, it's Yusuf L720 at Instagram. Islam, Grand Sheik.
Islam Moor. Peace and love to all the Moors. Don't forget tomorrow night, 7 p.m., Canaanland Moors class. If you got questions, send your questions, canaanlandguide at gmail.com. If you want to make donations or support in any type of way, as far as finance, PayPal, or email money transfer for people who are in the jurisdiction of Canaanland, the email is mstofa, period, do4nation7, DOFORNATION 7 at gmail.com. That's the number 7. Not spelled out 7. mstofa, period, do4nation7 at gmail.com. And don't forget, of course, all Cujo L books, khalifamedia.com, Islam to Mother Tahida Bey, doing her work over there, and willofallah.com, and honors to Brother Jonathan Bey and Moorish Directory and the whole fam. Islam Moors, peace and love, and we'll build again tomorrow night.
As he walked past the city's castle, he interrupted his return and climbed the stone ramp that led to the top of the wall. From there, he could see Africa in the distance. Someone had once told him that it was from there the Moors had come to occupy all of Spain.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy. 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 What you looking up for, God? I'm talking to you. Weed smelling like dead bodies, loving a shoot. Baby goats popping out for government checks. So the honorable moms, no disrespect. I'm not talking about the matriarch, but what the deadbeat dad, fake comrade, two-faced nigga, stab you in your back multiple times. Homicides and manslaughter, a friendship on the rise. Watch the gods with pseudo doctrines, big shades. I stay back and listen to old school stay sane. Around the gods, always have a bag of crystals in demons' faces, amethyst missiles. Dirty Moors teach the factors will make you official. When study is beneficial.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy. Crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy. Crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy. Crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy.
Enslaved by your own, didn't listen to prophet. Now you're living in sin. One tube, I can't stop it. You made your bed, lay down. Now you sleep standing. Notwithstanding in a dead status, birthright abandoned. Rather stay dirty instead of turning your card in. Then take your fez off if you're not turning your card in.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy.
And conscious means that you're conscious of what's going on in this world. You're fully aware and awake to what's going on in the world. That's what conscious rap means. So if you got conscious rap, that means you got unconscious rap. That means you got motherfuckers that's unconscious rapping. That means they sleeping. They still under the spell of the Leviathan. They still under the spell of kingdom.
Call me brother man, I'm not the rubber man. Though I keep my Nazis in affairs wrapped with some rubber bands. Burning out the Ku Klux Klan and with the Grand Dairy Queen misters. Just butts of guns I'm giving. Trying to make more sovereign citizens, these minions. Help kill your prophets, stole your treasury millions. You heard it from your brother man, not a smother sellout. Test links in K2 Kush days, keep me red out. I got the knowledge to make these silly hoes question the pimping directors of music videos. Gaylords and persons with strap-on boots with heels. Too much graphic art faces, boobs are not real. Since MCM and Troop, they use Timberland boots to get us all caught up in fashion, not the simple men roots. Got our people on dogmatic, not metaphysics. Exoteric, not esoteric is how you missed it. So out of it, you couldn't feel the natural mystic blowing through the air like it didn't give a shit. I hear the dirty Moors dissing, cause I said profanities. A lot of these grand sheets need to take off the panties. Pull the thong out your crack vest wearing sash, ass nigga. Return to where the prophet found you, Negro, what's that nigga?
It's time to choose a side. You either positive or you negative. You either evil or you good. You understand what I'm saying? Choose a side, nigga. I know what side I'm on.
I throw a Molotov at the priest that works for the beast. All they want is our people to rest in peace. No intention of allowing more stress to ease. Cracker won't go home to spread himself the disease. Genocidal epidemic kill us in high proportion. Instead of mummified, we stay boxed in coffins. Mayors attend funerals for PR purposes. Where's the police escort? He replied with nervousness. He said, I don't have those numbers or connections to have Metro Police lead your friend's funeral procession. That's coming from Mr. Mayor, black community player. No question in the hoods dropping out boxes of weapons. Then blame black on black crime or natural causes. Plus those doctors are not on point but off a bit. Natural mystics prove they're not holistic. Hypocrite oaths make your children autistic.
I'm at the point now, I'm saying, I'm tired of mixing the medicine with the food. I'm tired of playing that game. Now I'm shoving straight medicine down your fucking throat, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Straight doses of medicine and then shove down your throat. I don't give a fuck if it turns you off or not. But if it do turn you off, then you're a stupid, ignorant motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Don't judge like a cover of your favorite book. Visit you in your dream can with the hook. Paralysis overtook. So shook, stop, look, listen with precision. MC on the mission, vision, past senses and endless. Cipher with active Moors, beat you with facts senseless. Have your mind defenseless when the truth enters. Eyes glow, reminds me of Omar Bay, Algonquin embers. Tap your pineal out what some man remembers. All the lies told to your mind dismembers. Circle broken into quadrants, see the 7 in the center. Compass G between the square, Baphomet of Templars. Warlock, call on my witch mothers to maim them. The same wise spirits burned at stakes in Salem. Torture with vagina pair, survive, bobbing for apples. Contort thumb slide, wrist out, tight shackles.
I always got something deep to say, every time around. I always got something deep to say, every time around. I always got something deep to say, every time around. I always always got something deep to say. Every time around.
You sat down and you attacked the master teacher because you thought you heard something that you didn't hear. That's the first violation. You don't come in. First of all, you come in and you act like you come in peace, but you don't. You got an agenda.
Moors of men upright, independent and fearless. Dogmatized, dirty Moors, tongues cut out, left earless, cause they never listen. Dirty Moors, keep up your slander. Wu-Tang torture in your ass, hot hangers. Kidnappers, dirty Moor, torture him like Saw. 3D, 0.5 or 1 through 4. Or get it like 5 or 6 with the fez on jigsaw. Leather face in a turban, rip dirty Moors lips off. Disrespecting the mother Raz Mariah Bay. Wrap him up like double crochet, the barbed wire way. Throw him off a bridge or feed him to the piranhas. Yellow journalists more spread nothing but propaganda. Idi Amin Bey, treat the temple like Uganda. Dirty Moors like foreigners, crush the dust like ganja. Not worthy of being Moors, we call them dirty Nehesus. Solomon Seal spell command 72 demons to get you.
This is what the temple guys actually said. That Canaanland is not a part of North America. Canaanland is bigger. Yo, it's ignorant, man. I mean, come on, you're talking about the same land, man. Canaanland is actually bigger than the landmass they know as the corporate United States. Almost twice as big. And if they had any sense, they can just go to Google and they can type in North America and find out North America goes all the way up to Green. But they're ignorant. They don't want to do that. They just dealing off emotion.
You might hear hoarse voices, see frog faces, and who's for feet. Demons we run with, spit fire with gold wolf teeth. Keep playing, forget back teeth, new Moors are an issue. Get into maybe a dream visit from Vishnu, a nightmare to never end and always continue. Cold as an igloo, dealing with my trust issues through vigilance, active Moors of militants, SPLC dirty Moors, call that sovereign citizen. Lions reviews, they notice all the MCQs. Benz need gas and fixing, but not enough dues. Pigpen base sell you out for peanuts, claiming that we nuts for teaching birthright street level, keeping it beat nuts.
To any members of the MFTA that's out there listening to what I'm saying, please get it through your head. I don't have a problem with the MFTA. I got issues with
Kendrick Lamar, stay surrounded by feathers. Dirt is guilty of fraud and dually scrutinize their ledgers. Getting proclamations from Morocco, disrespect us. Corporate city only recognize people's court jesters. Hand in their back, Moorish puppets and minions. Never get the human rights recognition like Moors never Virginia. Commonwealth, for active Moors knowledge, the Commonwealth. Dirties claim more, but really on the straw man help. Authenticating a birth certificate, that's not significant. Civil little more two status syndicate.